with the sign that puts anything in connection with everything. This means for me that he avoids the communist dilemma which lies at the core of cinematographic tension between looking and moving. This dilemma is not a technical one, but I assume a philosophical and a political one. It is a dilemma that secretly opposes the absolute of the will, which sets out to transform the forms of the sensible world, and the absolute renouncement of the same will in favor of the development of a life which wants nothing at all. Godard's redemption of the images ignores, I think, the secret divorce that owns the most spectacular marriage of image and movement. So that a true cinematographic history of cinema would probably have to re-examine this disjunction of look and movement and to re-explore its political underpinnings if it wants to confront the historical utopia of cinema. Thank you.
Finally got a lecture of media and communication. Yeah, that's a surprise, thank you. Okay, so I have nothing to say to that. I have to think about it. Yes. All right, please, I open the discussion.
I don't want to be the first.
You don't, that's good, that's a good idea.
I want to be
to be the one who answers to the first.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes.
So who is the first?
Who is
the first?
So where's my car? He's not coming anymore.
Yes. There is a question at the very bottom.
Andrew.
Thank you for a really wonderful lecture. It does occur to me that the Vertigo sort of is more reliant on montage, where the Hitchcock I don't think would work without Bernard Herrmann's contribution. And sort of the, unresolved Wagnerian pastiche that's the Vertigo score.
What is exactly your question?
It's not really a question, it's sort of an observation that the silence is making me uncomfortable.
No.
Do we have a question?
Well, I guess my question is do you think the Hitchcock montage serves its own purpose without the Herrmann score? Do you think the images work by themselves without the music sort of tying them all together?
Well, I think Hitchcock's end is to realize this kind of perfect, coincidence, coincidence of all elements, the elements of the construction of the machination, the element of the visual fascination, and with all kinds, of course, also of support by music, etc., etc. And well, and I think so. I think, of course, the problem of montage in Hitchcock, is about this marriage, between the story, the plot of the fascination, the plot of the fascination, the plot of the manipulation, with this kind of ground image or matricial image, of the spiral. So I shall construct. This is we could have seen the very beginning, at the very beginning he shows us a mouse and eye, and then spirals, and it is as a manifesto, I shall make a film which is a perfect spiral, spiral of precisely what a mouse can do and what an eye can do, or what an eye can suffer.
Okay, I think I thought. Enough.
No, okay.
So let me ask, because if I understand right, you are opposing the movement of cinema, which has an utopian element to it, to life which wants nothing. So this phrase you have repeated several times. So far as I know, life may be indifferent in many ways, but not in sex. As Schopenhauer said, the real center of the world are the sexual organs, because that is what life wants from us, to procreate, so to speak. So even if there is no other goal to life, life is not, you cannot say wants nothing, wants us to continue at least.
Well, yes, yes and no. I think that there is a double level. But of course, my point was not about Schopenhauer. My point, once, I think there is this double level. Life wants to continue. Life wants, but at the same time, life wants to return. Life wants to return to the inorganic, etc. And we know how it was a kind of obsession at the end of the 19th century in so many fictions. So even the desire for the sexual desire at the end turns out to be a desire for death, which means that the fascination, in a way, the fascination goes beyond the sexual purpose. What I want is to fall. What I want is to fall. I mentioned Ibsen. But also maybe because there is this for me this quite obvious filiation. With this kind of delayed, this kind of delayed, plungeon, into the void. But you have also in Hitchcock, in Ibsen. The play of the master builder, Solness, who at the end of the play, will climb to the top of a tower. Well, he's too old to do this, but he is asked to do this because of the reappearance, of a little girl who very long ago, admired him, climbing to the top of the construction, and she wants him to do the same, and he does the same, and he does the same, and he falls, and it is not a matter, of kind of negotiation, you will sleep with me if I do this. No, it's really a kind of fascination for falling. Okay, no, but that is a point. But this is not the main point. Now, my point was not about an opposition of cinema to literature. I was interested in the specific case of Vertigo. By the confrontation between the novel and the film. And the novel really, follows a kind of literary tradition, because it appears from the very beginning that what is really interesting, is not the manipulation, but the deadly fascination, And I was interested by the way in which Hitchcock, Hitchcock of course could not stand it, because the novel was more or less, wrote for Hitchcock, It was wrote for Hitchcock, But, in the same way, Hitchcock made his choice, and precisely, he dismissed this element, And my point was, so there is this kind of very strong tradition in fiction, that dates back to 19th century literature, and sometimes, gets reproduced precisely in forms like the detective novels and so on, who can use it for their own ends, And, so with this kind of idea that all our machinations, etc., well, at the end are only, means for which, life realize its want, which is nothing. And what interested me is that this, I would say this theme of equivalence, was reversed in a certain way, in the times was reversed in the unanimist tradition, and mostly, I think it's quite evident in Vertov, because everything is equivalent, There is absolutely no hierarchy between the worker, between the younger woman in the beauty parlor, the magician, etc. Absolutely no hierarchy.